All right, class. In this video, we'll discuss about data importing in Excel. This will be our first lecture in this Excel for Engineers class. And the reason we are starting with the data importing feature as opposed to the basics of Excel is because even though the Excel is a spreadsheet program for analyzing, organizing, and visualizing data, I think it is appropriate to start with where this data comes from. So there are many ways you can get data into Excel. Of course, you can create the data yourself by inputting it using functions or formulae in the Excel cells. But typically, um, there are several other ways that you will end up generating a lot of data for you to process with Excel. One of the common ways of getting data into Excel is using data acquisition systems. So these systems are a lot of times used in the factories, in the labs, in the field settings. So you will have a test setup basically with a lot of sensors and analyzers, data acquisition systems, which may be generating data in several different file formats, which is then either automatically or manually entered into an Excel spreadsheet for further processing. The other way you sometimes would like to get data into Excel is through images. And these could be images from websites. These could be images from books in your library. These could be images from manuals. A lot of hard copies of things that don't have data in tabular format readily available for Excel. So a lot of these information that is in table format in these images need to be sometimes converted into an Excel data format. So through images, and then through a lot of documents that might be in your local computer. So it could be PDF files, Word files, other text files. Another way you would like to sometimes import data into Excel is through the network. You might have websites from which you want to download tabular data into Excel and fill your spreadsheets. Or you could have other local area networks which has stored data in tabular form that you would like to import into your spreadsheet. Another common way that brings in data into Excel is through portable sensors. These could be sensors for measuring biometrics. This could be sensors for measuring environmental variables, etc. And they usually generate numbers in tabular format, which could be processed through Excel. We'll look into some of these things and how to do this with Excel in this video. Before we jump into the data processing, the data import, one thing to notice is depending on your Excel version, this could be easier or a little bit more difficult. So on the left here was my old version of Excel, and I recently updated it to the PSU version, and I seem to have a lot more data import features within my new version, and I've put in the versions here. You can find your version number by going into options and then going into your account information and checking on the version. I'm not going to show that here because I will be sharing all the license information on the video, but I could show it to you in the class. So if you have this type of version, you can see how many different ways you can import data into Excel. Okay, and we will demonstrate some of these soon. Let's start with getting data from an image. I'm not sure whether you all have this version of Excel where importing from picture feature is available. First of all, this is a very new feature and it has a lot of bugs. It may not work with every picture that you have. Sometimes you have to play with the brightness and sharpness, contrast of the picture. Sometimes you have to play with the resolution of your picture. Sometimes your internet connection speed has to be good enough for it to do the processing correctly. As far as I understand, this is an AI-based image processing technique which needs the Microsoft cloud-based connections. So it is important to have an internet connection for using this feature. So let's look at a demonstration of that. So here I've clicked that and I've uploaded a screenshot. Then it's trying to analyze using a cloud-based system, and then it'll show you the the image that you uploaded and also the data that it's able to extract from that image. Then it'll go step by step through each of these items that marked in red and ask you to verify. And if you think it's correct, you can accept it. And in the end, you can insert the data into your file. Let's take a look at how this is done. So I'll switch to my Excel. And I'll click on this picture from file feature. Let's take a screenshot image as our example. Click insert. It's trying to analyze. Okay, so this was the original image, and then it's asking us to review step by step. So let's go. Thermal character. I would like to add a space here. Accept. Polymer, correct. This is correct. That's correct. Correct. This is a percentage. That's correct. Correct. A lot of these look okay. I don't need to add this reference. And you could do this later on too. You could just insert the data first and then compare with your image later. So here we got the table, and let me go and copy paste that image. Oh, doesn't want to go back. Okay, so this was that image. For some reason, it doesn't let me copy paste. Let's do it another way. There you go. So you can do a comparison here, and looks like it's got most of it right. Again, this is a very good image. All the text is very easy to recognize. What they're doing is basically optical character recognition. So because this has been a good table, we got it almost 100% right. So that's an example of importing data through the image feature or the picture feature. Let's now go to getting data from web. So sometimes you want to get data from, in this case, I've chosen Wikipedia as an example. So let's go to um, so there are several tables in this particular Wikipedia page. And let's see how many tables here we could import into Excel. The first thing we'll do is copy this web address. Then go back to Excel. open a new tab, and get data from, by the way, one thing I forgot to mention, all of these features are in the data tab within the Excel ribbon. So get data from the web, put in the URL here, hit OK. Again, for this, it's obvious you need to have an internet connection because it's pulling from the web. Okay, so it has looked into that web page and it has identified several tables that are possible. Okay, now here you can click the select multiple items and go through which all tables you want to generate. If it is only one table you want to pick, for example this one, I could just click it and just say load to and select table, and you can even pick a spot within your particular sheet. So I want to put it in here at E10. Click OK. So it's loading the data, and now the table is in here. If you want to select multiple tables, you won't get the option of selecting a particular location. What it will do is it will create multiple tabs of tables here. So let's go ahead and do that. Another thing to notice here is I could go here and I don't need to put in the URL again. I can just go recent sources, and it already has a recent source in here. Connect, go to the same page. And now I want to select multiple items. Let's see what all we have to select. Okay, there's a big table. Let's select this one. What about this one? Let's select this table. No more good looking tables. Okay, let's select this one. Okay, maybe this one. So we have selected 4 tables. Okay, now get the load to, and it's table. Now you don't get to choose a location. It will all put them in different new worksheets or tabs. Click OK, and you will see that new tabs keep forming here. Okay, so that was one of them. This is the other table. This is another table. This is another table. For the sake of redundancy, let's make sure one of these tables is correct. So annual semiconductor sales. Let's try to take a screenshot. Let's go back in here. Sorry. Yeah, I think this was the one. Let's check one particular row. Maybe just copy this and see whether this one was correct. So that was 2007. Okay, let's keep the same formatting. So it seems like that number is correct here, 2007. You could copy paste that image and go through this exercise of verifying it. But typically, if the table is not an image, it will be mostly 100% accurate, but you should always verify. So that's getting data from the web. What's next? The next would be data from a PDF file. So let's say you have a journal paper or a conference paper downloaded and you want to copy paste some tabular data from that paper. Um, how do you do that? So I will open up a PDF file. Okay, so here, this is selectable data. And this works only if the data is selectable like this. Okay, if it's an image within a PDF, this feature is not going to work. So in this case, why don't we try directly copy and pasting it? Let's see what happens. To a different sheet. Usually, this is not what you want. Okay, sometimes you get a text import feature, but it's of no use when it's all a single column like this. Okay, I'll show you how to use this later on, that text import feature. But what we should use is get data from PDF. I think it may be best to close the PDF file first. Okay, go to get data from file from PDF. Go to the PDF file that you want, click import. Okay, so it has looked at several of these files, several of these tables, and this is the table that didn't work there, but let's see whether it'll work now. So I want to put it at this location. Okay, now you have a table. This looks good. So this is one way of importing PDF, um, or the easiest way of importing PDF into your Excel. Now next would be to getting data from text-based files, so .txt, .csv, etc. So let's look at how these files look. So this is a .csv file that I've opened in a notepad. The data is like this, okay? It's not separated into different columns. So it has a data, date column, time column, and some measurement values in here. It's of no use if they are tabulated like this. We want them in separate columns. You could do this a lot of times and use the text import feature. So copy it, go back to your Excel, find the free sheet here, and go to paste, use text import wizard. In this case, because it's a comma separated file, CSV, go to the delimited option, and you can use comma as the delimiter. So remove the space, use the comma, and you can scroll down. You can see that the data seems to be separated in terms of date, time, and the measurements that you're doing. Next, finish. So this has done the job for you. It may not work all the time, but most of the CSV files, it'll work like this. But another way of doing it is using the data import feature. So go to data tab, import from text or CSV, find that file, the CSV file, and here you have to select the entire data set. Scroll down, you can see that it's already correct in the tabulations. So date, time, humidity, temperature. Now you can do load to, you can put it somewhere here. You got almost the same information here in table form. Notice there's a difference between this range of data and this. We'll get into this later on. So these are basically tables, what we call Excel tables. So when you click this, you can see the table design. When you click this, you get this table design option. When you click this, there's no table design option. That's because this is a table function, or this is a table entity. So you could do more operations when it's in a table form versus a range like this. We'll get into that in the next lecture on tables. Okay, same way for text file, .txt files, you could do almost the same way. Go in here, go to data, get data from file, from text or CSV. In fact, this is already available here directly, and it's the same steps. So I think that concludes this video. Oh no, there's one more left. Okay, so one thing I forgot to mention is pivot tables. No, I think that concludes this lecture. The pivot tables we'll deal with in the tables video. All right, thank you.